Good afternoon, everybody. We're here doing another episode, having a good time. Hope you're enjoying it. Just a quick little disclaimer. Ben and Paul Show is not a GTA-only podcast. It just so happens to be the big game of the time, so that's what we've been talking about mostly so far. But we're going to get into other stuff, art, comics, movies, other things. But right now, what's exciting to both of us is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
That's Ben with me as always. Say
Yes.
hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Anyway.
Ba-dum-bum.
So, gosh, where do we start?
Where do we start? You're way further in the game than me. So,
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Last episode, I talked to Picky Ben, and I made some notes. And I can't, they were mental, which was a mistake. I should have wrote them down. But I cannot, for the life of me, remember what my complaints would have been right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll think about them later.
complaints with GTA 5?
Yeah.
I mean, other than the language?
No, well, okay, the language.
The language is a little extreme.
It seems ridiculous, but the app, like on two accounts, one, the thing I have on my son's iPod doesn't work that well. Like, it's so
Oh, God, mine neither.
glitchy. It's glitchy beyond glitchy. And of course, there's no Android. Like, why would they not do that on the first?
If a lesser company doesn't release it on both, you kind of understand that. They have limited
You almost
time, limited
expect it.
resources. They don't have, the manpower to do that. But this is freaking Rockstar, for corn's sake. They spent $300 million almost. They couldn't pitch $10,000 at some poor studio to slap crappy port. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not like the Android market is some small offshoot. It's 40-something% of the market.
Well, unless they fix all the glitches in it, they can keep it on iPhone.
Fair enough. But I tell you, playing it on this tiny ass little iPod Touch when I've got this ginormous LG Android phone is frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Those iPods are tiny, aren't
They're itty bitty, and that's fine. But my big ham-handed fingers just won't do it. Pick up the turd and put it in the trash can. That's never happening. You might as well just uninstall the app because I can't pinch the fake turd on the stupid. God! I turn into Trevor. Throwing it through a wall, stabbing a random stranger, and
I'm curious to see. And the only reason why I bring this up is because of the Trevor trailer that came out with all those guys and all that stuff.
The foot in the toilet.
Yeah, I want to know what the hell is going on there. Like, is that a random moment? Because sometimes you'll come in on these guys and they're in the middle of something. And then other times you come in on them and,
Sleeping in a dumpster.
Yeah, That's Trevor anyway, sleeping in a dumpster.
Yeah.
Well, last night I don't know, sleeping in a dumpster just seemed like a good idea.
He was messed out and landed there. He didn't choose it, buddy.
Jeez.
He learned it by watching you, Dad.
I gotta say, before I started the game, I was pretty sure that Michael was gonna be my favorite character. But after playing with Trevor, I gotta say, he's the more fun to play with.
Well, and a lot of reviewers have said that it's nice that, we were talking about this last week with the controversy around some of the reviewers giving it lower scores because the characters are so reprehensible. And a lot of people are just like, you know what? That's how I play these games anyway. The fact that, they built a character designed around the psychopath we all play when we do open world crime games anyway, that's fine. Most people are. I think he's a funny character. I think he's a well-written character, even if he is a little psycho. I've heard there's torture scenes, and I can understand how that would be off-putting. And the game is... You can't argue that there's not some misogyny in the game. All male protagonists, all from a male perspective, and a lot of the women characters are just treated like objects. And that's, I can understand why that would upset some people. On this side of it, when we talked about it last time, there was...
But it is Grand Theft Auto. It's like bitching, it's like going to a strip club and then walking out going, I can't believe there are naked women in there.
Well, that's fine, but starting the discussion isn't bad. I don't think... The reviewers I've read all their points are fair and they're valid, and if they want to mark the game off for it, by all means, that's
go for it.
perfectly
I mean,
reasonable.
yeah. I mean, that's, I think everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
Sure.
I think, when you go into the store of Grand Theft Auto, you can't complain to the owner when there's, cussing and mistreatment of women and things, because these things have kind of become, what's expected. I mean, I think if there was, in fact, what would really make hot news is if they ever made the main character a woman.
I hate to borrow a line from the Republicans, but that's a slippery slope. If you just, this tacit acceptance that, misogyny is just the way, so get used to it. I don't think that's the way to look at it. I think, let's have the discussion, Let's talk about it. Let's say, all right, yes, these things are in here, but do you really care what these psychopaths think of anybody? They obviously don't have any respect for themselves, so how can you expect them to have respect for the other characters, be they women, be they men? Yeah. Misogyny, misandry, it's all ugly, but these are ugly characters doing ugly things, and that, I think, is why...
And it's a story like any other, and you have to stay true to the story. You can't go, well, this group over here is going to get bent out of shape.
It's like we talked about in the first episode. So many game makers are so worried about offending people, and they have to be. I mean, they're not Rockstar games. They're not Grand Theft Auto. They don't know that they're going to make $1 billion when they put their game out there. Yeah. Maybe no one will even want it. So they take some of those sharp corners that would poke you, and they sand them down. And that's one way to do it, and a lot of them have to do it. But that's when you end up with a lot of just chum in the water and no real bite.
Let me ask you about this. Moving a little bit away from Grand Theft Auto.
Hooray.
Just game playing altogether. Would you say... It's kind of a two-part question. I'm trying to fashion it in my head as I'm speaking, which is always a dangerous thing for me. But in gaming, would you say that over the last maybe 10 years or so, we've traded the desire for really great graphics for a really great and strong storyline?
I think storyline has been evolving naturally with the medium, but what I see and what excites me about, say, the next gen consoles, a lot of people think, well, PCs already do that, and they're right, they do, but what that's going to allow is a market standard for bigger worlds, for more open worlds. I think the density of the environment is what's going to be the next big pushing factor. Okay. Because once you've got 8 gigs of RAM on everything, once you know you have that, you look at the Xbox has 512. It's right now, the 360 is the lowest common denominator. So all these multi-platform games have to think of that. They can up it for the PC version, and if they take the time to learn the programming of the PS3, they can really wring a little extra power out of there. But in, 6 weeks? 8 weeks? 8 weeks when the new consoles come out, all that's going to change. And over the next 2 years, what I think is going to happen is that we're going to see these richer worlds like Grand Theft Auto become the standard. And more than that, I think things like destructible environments and things like characters wandering up on the side and, having more... Storytelling has always been hindered by the medium because it's interactive first.
You can't do certain things because we can't animate it properly. And
well, not even the animations, just how do you work this stuff in?
Yeah.
And there was a guy who writes for The Escapist. His name's Seamus... I can't remember his last name. His name's Seamus. He comes up with a lot of interesting ideas, and he said not too long ago when Fallout 3, I think, came out, he wrote an article about how it's neat that they have it, but because voice acting has become ubiquitous, that it's hurt storytelling in games. And you stop and think about it, at first you're like, that's ridiculous. I can hear them talk now, but then
hey, Paul,
they don't really talk naturally.
Ubiquitous. Need more input.
Ubiquitous means it's all over the place.
Okay. I remember. I used to know that word. I just haven't. Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I don't.
You're good.
Sometimes my vocabulary slips.
Word of the day, folks. Ubiquitous.
You know what to do when you hear the word of the day. Scream real loud.
Awesome.
High five.
God bless Paul Rubens. Anyway.
Not really.
Hey, you know what? Just for what he's accomplished, God bless him. Everybody deserves it.
Oh, I thought you said God blessed him.
Oh.
Don't get me wrong. I don't begrudge the man a little
I
fiddle
don't.
time on his own. That's his business.
And he
It's
was
nobody else's
he
business.
was in a porn. Everybody in the
I know.
theater's doing that.
If he was watching Finding Nemo and doing it, okay, let's call the cops. But when you're watching Backdoor Sluts 9, stole that from South Park. It's not my joke. But when you're watching, whatever.
I think we're all just glad to know you're not really aware of a title that's Backdoor Sluts 9.
Oh God, not that one. Well, that was one of the big jokes of that episode. Is that all the guys, every time they mention it, all the guys go, "Oh no, not that one." Like every guy in town knows about it, and then his wife immediately looks at him and goes, "How do you know anything about it?" The guys at work told me.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I gotta see that. Anyway,
that is one of the best episodes of South Park in mine. It's called Return of the Lord of the Rings to the Two Towers. And the best South Parks are when it's just about the kids being kids and doing things that kids do. When they're trying to sell an issue, okay, it's a good platform for that because of the way they do the animation. But when they're just letting the kids be 8-year-olds, it just speaks to something, I think, in most boys. I think that's why the show is so popular, because most boys have there's a collective unconscious about the way we all grew up. We all had a lot of the shared same experiences. When they let those kids just be kids, just out. There's a scene where the call the fellowship, and all the kids are out there, and they've got coffee can helmets for the dwarves, and Cartman has this big ugly stick that he's using as his Gandalf staff, and then one of the kids shows up with a Star Trek stormtrooper helmet. It's hilarious.
We could use the ring to strengthen our star cruisers.
And Cartman just looks at me and goes, "Damn it, Kevin." He's just so pissed off and indignant. It's fantastic.
we've completely derailed now.
Yeah.
Where were we?
We were discussing storytelling in games, and
Yes.
that guy on The Escapist.
And ubiquitous.
And yes,
I forgot. Sorry.
it's all right. Anyway, the guy says that now that every single thing has to be voice acted, now that every single thing has to be part of the, it makes it more important. When you put more into the work, more people are getting paid for it, more people are getting, more people are probably getting saves over it. The teams are getting bigger all the time. Budgets are getting huge. I mean, you look at Grand Theft Auto. It's a current-gen title. It costs $300 million to make, and it shows. I'm not saying they're mismanaging it, but when I hear that, half the EA games that come out are everything they do is just milquetoast. There's nothing, there's no bite anymore. They're trying so desperately to get Call of Duty money with Battlefield that they've forgotten about half their other franchises. And the ones they are remembering, they're wrecking. Like, what they've done with Command and Conquer. And that's a game we both love.
EA is a complete joke. I don't mind saying that. They're...
up until recently, I defended them as saying that they have an important place in the industry. We need... they're out there. But over the last few years, man, geez, it's just impossible. And it all came to a head for me with SimCity.
Oh, my God. You mean the black hole?
Yeah. Oh, my God. I wanted to love this
The
game.
word is the guy at GameStop told me they fixed all that. Did they?
Yeah, the guy at GameStop obviously hasn't played it.
Okay.
The problems weren't with...
Hash it out. Let's do this.
All right. The problems with SimCity have nothing to do with the server problems that started. That's the ones that made the news. Because you pay $80, $60 for a game and you can't log in. That makes the news. That gets people upset.
What happened? Wait, what?
They only had like 4 servers for the world on the release date.
Wait, what?
They had like
I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
I'm sorry, I said the world. I meant the country. They had a northwest, a northeast, and a southwest. There's like 4 servers. And even through 3 beta tests, they did these real cut-off, hour-long chunk beta tests that gave them no idea what they were going to have to deal with. And everyone's going, this is going to screw up. This is going to be bad. You guys need to listen. And, of course, well, we know better. We're EA. And what happened? It wrecked the servers.
Well, it all boils down to a money thing. It's definitely a money thing, I think.
No, it's not. It's neglect for your customers and no respect for the people who put you in power.
The motivation to dump on your customers is probably saving a buck.
Maybe.
That's my angle, but it doesn't make it right. I'm not saying
no, of course not. But to the people who say it's been fixed, yes, the server issues are fixed. They doubled the servers within the first 2 weeks. Okay, you could log into a horribly broken and just terribly designed game. And it's all designed around forcing multiplayer into a distinctly single-player title. There's no need for... The plots are these tiny Borg cubes.
Wait, well, hold on. We're talking about Sim City, right?
Yes!
That's where you just build a city and run it, right?
Yes! But we've got...
Where does Player 2 come in?
You can share a region. Like, you can have a plot where you build your tiny
No,
square
I want
of a
my
city.
own map.
Exactly. That's the thing. But even taking the multiplayer thing out of the equation, even if you just look... Okay, I played in the beta. I played 2 of the betas. I knew the map size was small. I knew all this stuff going in. But no matter what you do, if your city is going to grow, and it has to,
Right.
everyone wants to build the big city. Eventually, you're going to have this squared off section that looks like a Borg cube sitting in the middle of this huge verdant field, and you can't go past these borders. Okay, that's fine. How do you make money in this? Because eventually you're going to need more fire, police, and your taxes aren't going to take that. You can only raise them so high, and when then you start losing people. And the way they built what they call the agent system is businesses that need workers send out a signal, but the traffic gets so clumped up, no one can get to the jobs. I was playing one map and doing really well, and then I got a population explosion. I went from what was it? From 75,000 to 150 or 200, just like that. All my schools shut down because no one could get to work. The traffic was just clogging. Build more roads. Well, you can't build T-shaped cross section. Yeah, what do you call it? Intersections, because if you do, your turn, and then just back up. And worst of all, there's only one way in and one way out of your plot to the rest of the region. So if you have resources that you're trying to sell out on the open market, which is supposed to be a big part of the game, fuck you. Too bad. Because the traffic, even if they get out, they're not getting back in. Because the traffic is literally, I pulled out the region view. I had one that went back to the next region. That's how much traffic was trying to get in.
Oh.
And it's every time. And they go, we're going to fix it in the next patch. And they're up to patch 8? The core gameplay that Max has put together is fun, but it is so hobbled. It is so just, and people have gone on about this. I hate to spend this much time of our cast talking about it, but it's an issue, and it goes to show just how little EA cares about the clientele that they. There's a new guy there now. Hopefully, he's making it better, and they've made some strides. They put in a digital return policy, which is nice. But then, for every nice thing I can say, there's something horrible.
When SimCity first came out, there was a 0 return policy, wasn't there?
I don't know.
People and
I didn't play the original SimCity. I played 2000.
If I remember, this is an online thing only, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to sign into their servers. You have to play it online. You don't save it on your computer. It saves to the cloud, which. Okay, but this is a single-player game that I can't play unless if my internet goes down. Oh, your host. Ha! Well, that's why I like single-player games, EA, to play when I don't have the internet to keep me entertained otherwise. That's one of the benefits. And that's one of the problems Microsoft ran into when they started talking about the X1. Just, why does it have an online check-in every 24 hours? Because they were trying to do some digital rights management thing, but horrible implementation, and even worse with just not selling any benefits. Just coming out and saying, and I like Microsoft, and I don't like to say this, but they just came out and just shot themselves in the freaking foot.
Well, you know what it's going to be.
Doing it.
You know what it's going to be now. Now they have to carry their holster or carry their gun in their holster unloaded, and they get one bullet in their pocket.
Well, gee, Barn, you just can't keep more than one bullet. I can't trust you. Nobody who's listening to this is going to get that.
Yeah, no, but that's fine. Screw off. So anyway.
Why to fight about it?
Yeah.
Anyway, Fate's been cruel enough to EA. Let's get off of them for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I can only hope that... because they're a huge company, I would hate to see them go under. And they've made in the past some great games. Like you said, Command and Conquer. I still, to this day, play a modded out version of Command and Conquer Generals, and I enjoy. It'll just never get old. It's got stay power, and I've heard I haven't played it, but I've heard some really negative things about the latest releases of that title too.
Well, I think we talked a little off mic about Command and Conquer
Yeah.
4, and then what they're doing with the franchise now. They're trying to make it StarCraft, but
Yeah.
see, this is the problem with EA, and this is their biggest thing. I can't believe no one realizes this. At this huge multinational billion-dollar company, you don't get to be number one by following the leader. Lead, follower, get the hell out of the way. Mm-hmm. And they're just trying so desperately to make Call of Duty money or StarCraft money that they're taking the unique niche market that they had and they're spitting on them by trying to make something that for
It's
fans
so
that
generic.
already have a game.
Yeah.
They wanted to take WoW, so they made the Old Republic. And for an MMO, it was neat. I don't like MMOs. I never have. There's nothing wrong with MMOs. It's just that kind of gameplay doesn't appeal to me.
Right.
At all. I want
Me neither.
I want to
I've
get
never
in.
got
I want
into
to eat the story. I want to explore the world. And unfortunately, most MMOs, because they're MMOs, they have to spread everything out. And that was my big problem. I still played the Old Republic for 6 weeks, which is unprecedented. I've never played an MMO that long. I got past level 10. I never get past level 10. I get bored real quick with those because everything's so spread out. BioWare did a nice thing, and then that they made actual story in an MMO. And story that felt, of course it doesn't matter. Everyone's the chosen one. But they still kind of made you feel like Han Solo. They kind of made you feel like Boba Fett. They kind of made you feel like, Sidious. And there's nothing more fun than just Palpatining your way across the land, a landmass.
Something dark side. something complete.
Family Guy, folks. Tune into it.
I love. He goes. What's the part in Jedi where he looks at Luke and he's like, "You want this, don't you? Well, take your weapon, strike me down with it." And it's like I can just imagine Luke going, "Okay," and grabs it and goes, "No, I was just kidding."
Yeah. He's lucky Luke wasn't Texan.
Yeah, for sure.
Gun, blam,
Bam.
blam, 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 blam. All right, I hate to steer it back to Grand Theft Auto, but I did see something troubling in the news today.
Okay.
Some kid in Baton Rouge, Red Stick,
Okay.
apparently he's been playing against 20-year-old kid, been playing Grand Theft Auto. Some guy leaves his truck unlocked. He notices it, grabs it, starts running into other cars. There's someone in the passenger seat, so he's got a count of kidnapping, even though I didn't know they were there. And the dumb little bastards, I just wanted to see what GTA would be like in real life. Ha ha ha.
He's probably never played the game.
I'm sure he has played the game and probably doesn't. There's got to be something wrong in the head when you can't keep make-believe in a make-believe space.
In the future, do you think we'll need to have a license to play video games?
I don't, because I think they're it's protected. It's protected free speech. I don't think that Grand Theft Auto is really. I think it's more cavalier towards swearing and misogyny than it is to violence.
Yeah,
because you go down quick in that game. I mean,
very quick.
It's not like Saints Row where you can take 30 bullets and just I
or
take
all the bullets.
I take bullets by deflecting them with my massive erection. There's Trevor's good, but he ain't that good. You know what I mean? He ain't the boss.
Yeah, no.
Boss. Boss.
Boss! What a great game.
Yeah. You know what we should do next time? We should make a Saints Row cast the way we did with our GTA stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We need to give a huge shout out to Saints Row, but that will be on another show.
We'll do that for another episode.
Definitely.
Because we're going to need a whole half hour to talk about that.
At least.
Yeah.
Speaking of a half hour, it has been tons of fun.
We're moving into the 25-minute mark.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
long even for us. So We'll wrap this up now. Thanks for listening. You know the deal. Like it, love it, subscribe it, link it. I will post all those on the page.
And don't forget to contact us on the Twitters there.
Oh, stop fronting, Ben. You ain't that old.
Oh.
You buster.
I don't know. That's kind of something I do. I don't know where I got it from, but I do it and it really irritates my wife, but I like doing the voice.
Oh, well, I mean, if it irritates your wife, I could have made a career out of tormenting ex-wife.
Oh, yeah. It's all fun and games until someone gets a restraining order.
Yeah. And now she's not allowed within 50 feet of me.
Oh. All right, well, see you next time.
Thanks.